Just like that. Boom. Back in the man cave. And there are flies in the shop. I've been trying to get rid of them. And the sound drives me bonkers. But I guess I'll have to live with it for a little bit. Tell you what, one thing I've realized many years ago was that, and I strongly try to encourage as many people as I can, if you, or when, however you can do it, to jump out of your bubble so that you can go somewhere else and look in on your bubble. That's what going into what I like to refer to as the real world does for me. When you jump into the real world, you rely on yourself. 100% of your natural senses get exercised to the max. Your physical body gets exercised to the max. Your brain doesn't really get exercised. You guess it's like you give your brain a bit of a relaxation in a way. It's like taking a break because you are absolutely removed from all and any bullshit instantly. And you live true. You live true. It's the only way I can describe it. You live true. You live free and true. And naturally and very healthy. It's very, very healthy. And when you do that for a while, as long as you can, like before, you should do it for 120 days a year straight, remote, and then I come home and only have about 2 weeks to fart around in the other world, and then I would go instantly into running around the coastal mountains for another 45 days straight. And then after that, during the wintertime, I'd be out there alone even more, chasing wolves and stuff. And I used to do I figured it's probably around 250 days a year in the woods. And when you do that sort of activity for those amounts of time and that amount of time away from any and all bullshit, your bullshit meter seems to be very clear once you come back into this world. And especially today, your bullshit meter is on the frickin' redlining nonstop because of the bullshit that goes on in today's society. It's a very frustrating thing. What I'm trying to say is a very frustrating thing when you have to readjust again to come back to this, not this right here, but what you're surrounded with, the fast-paced man-made system, the high-density populations, fast-paced, the lower quality of life that's in your face all over the place. Man, the homeless encampments that I've seen along the highway number 1 coming through the lower mainland of British Columbia, which I'd never ever seen before, it really twisted my guts up for those people. It was a very sad thing to see, and it's such a common thing in all the big cities in North America today, right? And something very, very wrong going on there. Side note. But anyway, what I'd like to encourage people to do is, if or when you can, jump out of your bubble, live true. Bullshit free. If you have to grab a stupid tent or borrow a tent, throw it in your car and go to a park or campground, whatever, and just go leave. Get away from the screen, get away from the city, get away from the population, smell the air, get your blood pumping, use all your senses, and be bullshit free. For at least a couple days if you can. 1 day, 2 weeks, month, whatever you can pull off. I'm sure I find it very difficult, not difficult, but I have to govern myself as I come back, and I need to slow down, take one thing at a time, because it's so easy to get overwhelmed with everything you gotta do, everything's going on. Oh my God, holy shit, holy crap, I'm back. It's very different. And there's so many flies in the shop right now, I don't know where they're coming from. It's driving me bonkers. I swear to God, I just killed about 50 of them. And shoot a bunch out the door, and a couple more just showed up. But anyways, there you go. I hope I made sense there. But I would like to encourage as many of you out there as I can to jump out of your bubble and have a look inside your bubble, because everything that's going on inside that bubble is very, very clear. What's right, what's wrong, what needs attention, what gets too much attention, it becomes very clear. It's a very healthy thing to do. So there's my spiel. What else? I also, just to clear up a few questions, what some people might not understand with the knife incident I had this past trip, which will go down as one of the top 2 or 3 experiences I've ever had in this lifetime. I threw down my day pack on the floor and I made this video. So have at this video for a minute. It may help answer a few questions. Alright, here's a quick video for the curious. just for the curious, and it'll help answer a few people's questions. Now this is my day pack. This is my day pack. I've used this pack for years. It's a light pack. I call it a soft pack. It's not a frame pack, and I've used this for years guiding on horseback. It's just one compartment in here, that's it, and the lid. And I'll have a zip up compartment right here. I don't know if you can see it, but I put my hunting licenses, etc. in here, guide license, and then the rest is just one open compartment. See that? Simple. So I will use this soft pack while guiding your day hunting. And the only thing I use the pack for is trail cameras, maybe a tripod, a camera, my lunch, and rain gear. So this particular hunt. And I have used this backpack since last November. I don't know how many times steelhead fishing and making salt licks and putting other trail cameras out. And when I lost that knife, I had 2 knives in here. I'm not certain how many trail cameras I had, so I usually have 2 or 3 before I go out every single day. And I lost, my friends had found the one trail camera on that cut line road, power line road. They found my trail camera sitting on top of the snow. And I'm like, oh no way, that's how I lost the knife and my trail camera. It would have been where the trail camera, I asked them where the trail camera was found. They said down the road a ways. I went down there and had a look, but you gotta think of how many quads had gone over top of that road, blah, blah, blah. Dropped a knife in snow in the sheath, gone. Ashamed I lost the knife. It was a gift from a subscriber from this channel, a very kind, generous gift. Ashamed to even admit I lost it last November. So, I come home, I typically empty out all my gear, my trail cameras go on the shelf, my knives go in a pile on the shelf, my knife sharpeners, everything. This easy one compartment gets emptied. And this has been used, I don't know how many times since last November when I lost a knife. And no, this year when we went down that road and I mentioned to my friend that I lost a real good knife right here and that my other friends had found the trail camera, we didn't even stop and get out of the truck anywhere near that area. We drove right by. So, I'm gonna show you what my backpack looks like this past 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, while I hunt. It's one zipper opening easily. Large window view. That's what it looks like every time I open up my backpack. I'll have 2 or 3 trail cameras, string for tying my trail cameras on, a roll of tape to mark my way out of thick timber if I harvest something, this knife sharpener, and one of these replaceable blade knives, and some of the knife blades. Everything's in your face, easy to see, right? And I don't know how many times during this past week before the knife incident, I tore this backpack apart looking for an SD card reader, which is that big. And I mean unfolded everything, searched this backpack, I don't know how many times for my missing SD card reader. So I'm mentioning that to let you know that I was intimately had looked at every single fold in this material to try to find that SD card reader this past 2 weeks. Okay? Now, let's zip it back up. And this is how I would travel for the day. Zipped up, my few bars in there. Boom, off we go, hunting for the day. Now, I stopped on the side of that road. I was on foot. I was gonna walk up the road 500 yards and then come back and carry on down the other way. So I took my backpack off, my heavy jacket off, put it right in the middle of the trail, left it there. I came back, my friend showed up with the quad, okay? So after about a week of hunting, whatever it was, I went back to my backpack. It was laying in the middle of the trail, full view of me the whole time I walked up the road and back. Sun was up, nobody's around. My friend showed up with the quad. I unzipped my backpack like this to get a trail camera to leave on a thing, and this is exactly what I saw. The knife was sitting basically on top of everything, in my face, right there. And there was a little patch of dirt stuck to it there where that blemish is, and there. Little patches of dirt stuck to it, and there's some corrosion, and you can still see the corrosion on the metal right here. And that is what I saw, just like that, on top of my stuff, just like that, in my face, boom. There's this knife sitting right here, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, 10, 11 months later. Here's the knife sitting right here with dirt on it from laying in the ground, laying outside, and the corrosion on here. And it was virtually brand spanking new when I last seen it in November. That's what I saw. That's what I found. Can't make it up, can't change it. And I hope that answers some of your questions. There you go. So there you go. There is my backpack and exactly what I saw when I opened up the pack later on that day. At probably, I don't know, 4 hours into the hunt that day. All right, there you go. And there is absolutely no way that knife was in my day pack. Period. Not a chance in hell that thing was there. And I didn't see it since last November. And furthermore, my one friend that I had with me had never been to that area where I lost a knife ever before previously. And we did not get out of the truck when we drove through that area. When I mentioned that I lost a knife and that my other friends had found my trail camera on the snow-covered road that day. So there you go. That helps paint the picture of what I experienced to people out there who might be a little confused. There you go. There's absolutely no way a friend of mine quietly found that knife and put it back in my backpack. Absolutely 150 million% impossible. This incident happened to me. There's no changing it, there's no getting out of it, and there's no coming up with some rational explanation. There just isn't. Believe me, I wish there was. I wish there was. I bet there's probably, I don't know, there could be anywhere from around 200 to 300 emails have come in with people having similar experiences in my inbox. Haven't read them all, cracked open a couple. Isn't that amazing? It's an amazing thing. And the true, one thing that we should be able to agree upon with that experience that I had was the fact that not one of us can say with receipts who or what is responsible for making that knife appear in my backpack, in my face, on top of all my stuff, just the way I showed it to you. You can't, right? It's not even remotely possible for anybody, any human being in the planet today, to dictate to us, tell us who, if somebody did that or what did that. It's not possible. That's the frustrating, amazing part about it that mind boggles the human brain, right? It's like, whoa, what? Right? It's like I always tell everyone, when it comes to simple things like, say, scent cover spray that a lot of people sell and make thousands of dollars off, the only way you could absolutely prove that it worked is if wildlife could speak. That's the only way. Right? You'd have to be told. I can guarantee you it doesn't work. But that's another topic to be argued about. I'm just saying, there's some things that go on where they just could not be proved to us unless we were absolutely shown and spoken to. Whoever, whatever, however that happened, with that knife to reappear, what was it? November? December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. 10 months later, 8 miles away, 6 or 8, and bam, in my face, after I have absolutely gone through every square inch of that backpack, maybe the day and the day before that, the past 2 or 3 days, nonstop looking for my SD cards or an SD card reader, which is that big and that thin. Do you see what you understand what I'm saying? You might think there was a fold or somewhere goofy that little SD card reader could be hiding in my day pack. Right? And believe me, if there was, I was searching it looking for that SD card reader. Probably 2 or 3 times I misplaced it, couldn't find it. And I was doing that systematically, emptying out my day pack and looking for that SD card reader. Right? Do you see? Am I painting the picture clearly of the amazement of seeing that knife with those little chunks of mud crusted stuck to the blade and the fresh corrosion on the metal part of the handle in my face, laying on top of my trail cameras, right there the way you're seeing it. That's exactly what I saw when I opened that backpack. Right? The only way I could be convinced without a doubt of how that knife got placed into my backpack would be if the being, the person, the soul, the whatever, took me aside, looked me in the eye, said, hey dude, I did it and this is how I did it. Watch this, I'll do it again. That's the only way that you could say who did it, how it was done. It's the only way. Other than that, it's just absolute, I don't know, maybe it was a Sasquatch. I don't know, maybe it was your grandfather. I don't know, maybe it was some kind of entity. I don't know, maybe it's a portal. I don't know, maybe it's the way you vibrated, your existence, your vibration. Who knows, right? There's a kabillion possibilities. But I think we could possibly agree on this one thing is, we don't really know. We do not know 100% for certain how that experience came about, but I'll tell you what, it will go down as one of the most shocking, mind-boggling experiences I've ever had. It was opening up my day pack and seeing that lost knife sitting there on top of my trail cameras looking me in the face. I just sort of sat down on a log and I was speechless. My buddy came up and I looked at my buddy, still speechless. He's like, what? I'm like, you're not going to believe this. And I told him what happened. So there you go. Addressed again and shown the backpack shown to all of you who may have questions or think that you came up with a simple explanation for how my knife was in that backpack and never before saw it previously since losing it. And another thing too, you can see the size of that blade. You would have to be pretty brain dead to have that blade with a razor sharp edge on it and toss it into that soft pack. Nobody's that dumb, right? You imagine falling, wiping out on your quad, falling over a branch and wiping out with that loose blade next to your back in a soft pack. Nobody, especially myself, I wouldn't dream of throwing a blade like that loose into anything, ever. Especially out there. Tumble, fall down, and stab yourself. Terrain, right? Pretty crazy. But anyway, other than that, it's good to be back. It's kind of different. I'm trying to keep myself to a low roar. I'm taking a time out to do this right now because I can feel myself getting a little overwhelmed with everything I have to do around here and everything I got to get caught up on and packing my stuff and stuff needs to be fixed. I got to go get my boat out of the water. I got to get my Zodiac. I got to do all this crazy stuff. And I'm just trying to take a time out, take a deep breath and relax, and systematically take care of all my shit, item after item, and I freak out and want to run back to the real world, stay there and hide from all this BS. There you go. Now, I'm going to read a handful of emails because they've been waiting. There's possibly, I don't know what order I'm going to read today. There's a bunch of new ones, there's some older ones, there's everything. But one thing I might do is take a break from all this and help somebody take a break from the battle they're fighting. I might get a hold of Nino again and see if he wants to come on here and just have a bullshit session story swapping, because he mentioned that he was in Australia with his friend in the outback and he had some crazy ass experiences that I've never had, but I love adventure stories. I love real world adventure stories, and him swaying away from that crocodile that he mentioned, holy shit, that's everyone's worst nightmare. And I want to hear his Australian stories. I want to encourage him to share it all and take a break from the battle he's fighting in the US nonstop online. And I have some other crazy stories I might share. We'll see. I don't know, because my stories seem to take a bit of time to tell. But I have some real goofy human being stories from the middle of nowhere that I should probably share. A couple of my friends are like, don't share that online. And I'm like, screw that. It happened. It's honest living. I'm going to share it one day. I think if we have time for works out, we'll see what kind of time Nino has. But I'll text him maybe today or tomorrow, because I have a feeling if I text him, he's going to go, let's do it tomorrow. And I'm still in the potential overwhelmed stage of being back. So I just got to get some stuff knocked off, get a little more relaxed, and know that I can do this, take the time and relax, and possibly swap some crazy ass real life stories. What do you think of that? I think that would be good. So, all that shit aside, let's get some voices heard. Alright, so this might be recent in the vault, I think, and this is titled Living with Sasquatch. Hi Steve, my name is Lanita Bryant. I live in Anniston, Alabama. Excuse me. In 1994, I moved into a cabin in the middle of the woods. The property was surrounded by the Talladega National Forest. I didn't have a phone or a TV reception. I was living the life. The property had 2 creeks and a lake. I fished rain or shine. Every time while fishing, the hair on my arms stood up. I had an uncomfortable feeling of being watched. One evening, my mother was spending the night. I was sitting facing the windows towards the parking area. She sat facing me. She couldn't see outside from her position in the room. And suddenly, a figure ran across my yard and squatted down behind my truck. It was tall, medium build. It wasn't all muscled up. Thinking it was a trespasser, I quickly grabbed my dad's old shotgun and ran outside. I yelled into the night but got no response. Running to my truck, I found no one there. Thick undergrowth and forest surrounded me, making it impossible not to be heard. Perplexed, I went inside telling my mom what I had seen. At night, as I sat on my porch, I could hear large tree limbs being broken. Sounds of coyotes could be heard in the distance. After living there a few weeks, I could hear bipedal walking coming down the mountainside toward the cabin. They were Sasquatch, but I didn't know it at the time. I soon found out, though, after they started their chatter talk and yelling into the night, they would walk beside me as I walked down the road to fish. Now, I'm a very brave lady. I wasn't scared, I was just curious. I soon met a man and he would come to visit me. Around 3 a.m., they were yelling to each other. It scared him so bad he got in his truck. After I walked him to it, he demanded to know what they were. I told him they were Bigfoot and were living in my barn. He stayed close to the cabin after that incident. We married and moved a few miles away. I would go back to the farm and research the Sasquatch. I began taking them gifts, such as apples and corn, etc. I soon had a phone and began taking pictures of them. They knocked and whooped to me. They don't seem to trust men very much. They showed me a baby, just days old. I would send pictures, but they are blurry. I invited them to visit me, and they did. I have footprints. They knock on the fence beside my house. They have marked my house by urinating around it. What? They also break tree limbs in my yard. I've learned quite a lot about them and what they are capable of doing. And yes, they cloak. They can go invisible before your eyes. Sometimes late at night I sit outside and I read to them. They really like that. I also sing to them. They're children. Like popcorn. Their children like popcorn. Some of them look so human that if not for all the hair, you couldn't tell they were Sasquatch. They are humans with their own language. They even made a trail for me after I fell taking food to them. They broke small trees and rolled them down a power line until all the weeds were pressed flat. They have been good to me. I feel safe when I'm with them. Everything I know about them I have learned by being around them. The alpha male is about 8 feet tall. Most of them in my area are around 6 to 7 feet, and most of the children look as human as we do, meaning facial features, hair, and body shape. A few have domed heads and a lot of hair. Some of the women have faces covered by short hair. One female I saw holding her human-like child looked like a Neanderthal. Her forehead was jutted forward, large eyes, thin hair on her chin. I think they still cloak and hide from me because I'm always trying to take their pictures. Now, as I was taking pictures in my yard and caught a tiny little man peering out from the undergrowth, I was astonished. I never believed in little people before this. I'll send you 3 pictures of him. The first pic is him looking out of the bushes. I then enlarged him twice. Look at the thorns on those vines. Then look at the ivy leaves. The leaves are larger than his head. Since then, the grass in my backyard has been pulled up into a heart shape. I've had many hearts in my yard. I saw a tiny person beside one of the hearts. I was hiding in the grass. He was hiding in the grass looking up at me. I always hold my hands in the shape of a heart. I tell them it means to love someone. This sounds so incredible, but it's absolutely true. I'm not a lonely old woman with nothing to do. I stay busy, and I'm very active. Most people don't go around looking in the undergrowth. I do because I'm looking for evidence of my Bigfoot. They come up my drainage ditch each night. I live in a community, city limits. I find footprints and took pictures of them looking down my drainage pipe. A friend of mine said I should tell you about all I've encountered. Carrie Arnold was a friend of mine. He was going to come for a visit, but his life was cut short. Blank blank came for a week. He heard my Bigfoot and hair sample and saw the footprints. Most people don't believe in cryptids. That is a great advantage to them. They slip around like shadows in the night. Thank you for listening to my voice. These people are everywhere. Look a little closer next time you think you're alone outside. P.S. I lost my harmonica and they brought it back to me. It had a tooth print on one side. Lenita Bryant. Pics in next email. Check them out. Wow. Oh, just so you know, Lenita, there's some people online that I don't promote them at all because they want to be promoted. Carrie Arnold, I never met him. I understand he was a great man. It's sad that he passed away. And I never had any interactions with him at all. Don't know him. But I was assured he was a good soul. The other person you mentioned, yeah, I don't promote that person. I'm sorry. But no disrespect to you. Well, now I'm going to have to get on my email and search your name and get those photographs so I can share them here, which I will do now. Alright, so if the photos made it into this video, I haven't seen them yet, alright? They would have been edited in after I finished recording the emails, okay guys? So anyways, I appreciate you sending that in. And I'm glad you contacted me, because when you contact me, what you actually are doing is you're contacting the world, in a way. And so you know, Lenita, I don't know how new you are here, but people may argue this point with me. It may be arguable, but I do not consider myself a member of any, what you would call the Bigfoot or Sasquatch community. I'm not. I am a member of the people of the planet. That's it. I'm a member of the people. And all the people come here for answers to what we don't understand, but we know what's going on. Now, the reason I may share with you that I'm not a member of the what's called the community is because I'm just not. If you observe that, the people who are today, sadly, it's just a cannibalistic bunch of frickin' psychopaths. Sorry, it's the easiest, most simplest way for me to describe it. They're all going out at each other and wanting to have some kind of a name for themselves when it comes to this topic, which is fine, to each their own. Have at it, just keep me out of it. And they cannibalize each other and attack each other non-stop and try to prove each other either non-trustworthy or pulling hoaxes or doing whatever they're doing. I'm not a member. I like to think, and I feel the majority of the people here are people that just want answers to what the hell's going on. All right, we all seen the things, we heard them, we've had whatever happen, and we're pushing forward, and we wonder why. We're not here to try to prove anything. It's been proven the second we saw, witnessed, or heard, or smelled, right? It's been proven. Now let's move forward and find out what's really going on. So Lenita, if you want to contact us again and share with the world, with the people, what you know, if you know more, if you've had any, I think one question I would have for you would be, have you had verbal communication or thought communication? Thought communication meaning have you ever had any of these beings completely, smoothly, clearly interact with you with thoughts, which may come across as words in your head, but they didn't come in your head via your ears? Do you know what I'm saying? It's what a lot of people consider and describe as mind speak, telepathy, however you want to call it. I don't care. But I'm curious if you have had that experience, and if you have been able to ask these people questions, and if you have had smooth, accurate, confident answers. And if you have, if you would, share with us. We really, really appreciate that. And thank you so much for your time you took out of your way to send that email to us, all right, and those photographs. Now, back at her. Take from her what you will or leave it, everybody, right? As usual. And just so you know, now I'm getting closer to time where I'm going to make some contacts south of the border, and I'm going to get ready to possibly make plans to purchase my ticket, fly south, meet up with these people that I am certain I trust, and I can't wait to hear the knowledge they're going to share with me, as well as the knowledge they're going to allow me to share with all of you. Use me to share with all of you, and we're going to get a lot a lot of answers from doing that move. I'm just letting you guys know I'm a whole bunch of notches closer to doing that, alright? I'm really babbling today, but I haven't been, obviously been in the woods for a while. So anyway, what else we got? What's this next one? This title, there's no title on this, I don't think. No, no title. Hi Steve. I hope this finds you and your family well. I've been watching your channels for quite a while and enjoy every minute. It's a breath of fresh air to find someone who is in your face honest, no bullshitting around, and cares for people out there who have had experiences with the Sabe and other beings. Plus a man who, like a lot of us, wants to make the government accountable for all the crap they've done over many, many decades of getting away with a lot of things. Thank you for giving us this community. Thank you for giving us this community to keep in the loop. I've been wanting to send this to you for ages, but just haven't had the time as I'm looking after my 88-year-old mom. Also my brother, who was going through prostate cancer treatment, as well as my own health issues. But there are many people out there in a much worse situation than me, so I've got nothing to complain about. I hope everybody heals up. Big time. Prayers sent. On to my story. You can use my name. I'm not scared if anyone knows it. What I'm about to tell you happened, and I'm just thankful I finally have a place where I wouldn't get ridiculed for it. It's not anywhere as near as interesting as the stories you've read before, but this is what happened. My name is Angela Hutchison. I live in Australia and grew up on 32 acres of land that had a lot of big trees, our own dam, and when it rained a lot, we had a great swamp to play in. Yes, we were outdoor kids who loved getting dirty in the mud. Good times. Kids these days are missing out on because they've got their heads stuck on their phones or taking selfies doing the peace sign and duck lips, lol. This happened back in the early 80s, and for me it's as if it happened yesterday. The first story I'm sharing isn't a Bigfoot encounter, but I want to share it with you all, as whenever I've told this story to my family for the past 40 plus years, I get laughed at and told, quote, I was seeing things, end quote. You were imagining it, and you didn't see that. The usual. I was about 10 or 11 years old and was standing at the door to our house, which faced towards our 32 acres. It was a beautiful day, late spring, early summer, nice and sunny, but not overly hot. I was just standing there. I can't remember what I was doing at the time, but you know when you just randomly look around. Well, I did that. When I looked at the horizon behind our property, I shit you not, I saw the silhouettes of the male lions walking along the horizon clear as day. Walking in a line going from right to left. Their tails were bent a bit at the end part, and the end part was pointing up, and they were swaying as they walked. This was no split-second thing I saw. I stood there and watched it for a good 30 seconds. It wasn't late in the afternoon, so my vision wasn't affected by afternoon sun or anything. It was middle of the day. I made a photo from Google Earth images of the property as it is today and added, as best as I can, the lines to the horizon. In the image, this is where our house was, since pulled down, and the current one built there. I can still see it now. The memory is burned into my head forever. Wow. Same with this story. I'll never forget it. And something you mentioned from another viewer was that they said, quote, they were the only person who heard the Bigfoot/Sabe roar, end quote. This made me have a light bulb moment of my own experience I had, also back in the early 80s. I was standing with my brother, one of my sisters, and my brother's best friend near our dam. We were just outside doing kid stuff. While standing there talking, all of a sudden I heard the most insanely loud roaring scream. I could feel it through my whole body. It was so big and bellowed across the area that I looked slightly to my right, behind my sister where there were some massive trees. I expected to see King Kong part those trees with his hands and stand there. I see that imagery to this day, and that was 40 plus years ago. I was the only one who heard this gigantic roar. Nobody else acknowledged it. Nobody else even went, what the F was that? And believe me, it was definitely a WTF was that moment. So this makes me feel down to my core that I'd heard a Bigfoot/Yowie/Sabe, and I was the only one who heard it. Unless the others heard it and have said nothing. But I honestly think I was the only one who heard it. If the others had heard it, they aren't the kinds of people who wouldn't react. My reaction was to look at those huge trees looking for King Kong to part the trees, but he never showed up, lol. I made a map using Google Earth of the land showing where our house was, where the dam was, where I was standing when the roar was heard, where the trees I looked at were, and the property outline, so you can get somewhat of an idea of the location/area behind my stories. I've also attached a photo of myself and my brother's best friend to show the horizon from our backyard. This photo was taken less than a year after the roaring incident. I'm sure you'll enjoy seeing the horses in the photo. I wish I still had that golden tan, lol. And the joys of youth. I'm so glad I had a place where I can share this without being made to feel like I'm an idiot who imagined it. You're doing a huge service to many thousand around the world, Steve. Without you, we'd still be getting told by our family and friends that we didn't see it, didn't hear it, nothing happened. How wrong those people are. Thank you again. I also want to thank you for sharing your beautiful part of the world, your hunting adventures, and the many, many experiences of witnesses around the world. Just being able to share our stories and not get ridiculed is a huge benefit for those who share them. I hope this finds you, Sarah, your family, yes, all your four-legged ones, well and in good health. Through you, I'm able to enjoy the outdoors from the comfort of my home. Stay safe there, and here's to successful hunts. Kind regards, Angela Hutchinson from Australia. P.S. I think I didn't have any errors, lol. It was pretty smooth for me. And I'm usually the one that butchers everything up anyway, right? And there's the photos. There's the horizon. There's the horses. There's you guys. All right. Appreciate you sending that in. You found your people. It's a safe place here to share anything. Almost. You know what I mean? This is the right place to share all the crazy, weird, honest shit that people experience. And they got nowhere to go to share it, right? You found the right place. Very interesting. There's a lot of people in Australia who have experienced these beings, but it's that roar that vibrates your body to the core. Myself, just from what's been described as, I don't crave to have that experience myself. You guys, I share with you guys where I go and how long it takes me to get there on foot by myself. I don't need to hear that when I'm at the furthest point. I don't need that stress to accompany me on my walk out. I've experienced stress anyway. A long walk out in the dark, and for me, I just don't want to have it all taken away from me, like I said earlier. So, but man, oh man, so many people have experienced a roar/scream that vibrated their bodies and they felt in the ground or whatever. You know how loud that's got to be? That's like being at a concert and standing in front of the speakers, right? That's freaking loud and overwhelming. It's got to be absolutely intimidating. Right? I'm not even curious of that experience. I'm just not. I trust the people. I trust their testimonies, and I believe that's what they experienced. I don't think I need to. I've experienced enough, right? That's another thing. Excuse me, there's dust in here. That the sound I heard. Here's something, not quite on those lines, but here's something that is somewhat very interesting to me currently. Is after I heard those loud, absolutely powerful, absolute pure power sounds hammering into those trees in that timber below me. I mean, trust me, some of you might say, oh, it's a couple bull moose. I think I've heard bull moose a few times. I've even got them on video clashing their antlers together. I've called in bull moose that weren't originally aware of each other, one coming from the left, one coming from the right, and I've got them to come in. Couldn't see them as too thick, but I've heard that initial clash of their antlers as they come, and they start getting it on in a fight. And I describe that sound as almost like a car accident. The crack! The power behind two big bull moose smashing their heads together, those big palms of antlers. And that, I'm just saying, I've heard that I don't know how many times. I don't know how many times I've heard moose slam themselves into small trees or brush and willow, etc. Nothing I've heard in this lifetime even comes close to what I heard in that timber behind my tent the other night. Nothing. Now, the interesting, weird thing for me to try to understand is how the hell, I mean, I couldn't get out, I got out of the tent, I didn't panic. I don't panic. But I intently turned my headlamp on, looked at what I needed, grabbed it, got out of the tent, threw it in my truck, started up, calmly back it out, and left. Why? Because whatever made that sound, there is no way I was going to fall asleep there. Period. There's no hope in hell I was going to be able to fall asleep laying on the ground right there that night. Not a chance in hell. And furthermore, whatever made that sound, pretty certain I don't need to have that thing standing beside my head on the outside of a nylon frickin' tent, breathing on me, pissing on me, kicking me in the head, squat, whatever. I'm good. My gut said leave, I'm leaving. But what I'm getting at is why, how is it that right after that, the next day, I can go back in the woods alone, calmly, and feel comfortable? That's the part that really baffles me. How can I hear something in that patch of timber right there, that intimidating, that loud, that significant, had me breathing like a panting dog? Got my shit together, I didn't panic, I phoned Sarah right away. She said she's never heard me breathing and talking like that in her life. Still staying calm, not panicking, but I'm like, holy shit, there's something here. Holy cow, you're not gonna believe it. That's how I was talking. Why is it that I can go into the next huge patch of timber and hike 1.5 kilometers into it solo? I even showed you guys the video of me walking and where I was walking. Not a hesitation about it. I wasn't stressed for even 1/4 of a second. And I'm within view of where that sound came out of the timber previously. How does that work? That doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand that at all. For real. I don't know if you're picking up what I'm putting down, but how does your mind pull that off? I don't get it. That's very, very interesting to me. I'm very curious of that. I don't know what or how that I could feel that alarmed, and the following days I have absolute no problem, cool hand, Luke, calm, focused on hunting, and that's what I'm focused on. I'm not looking behind every tree. I'm not nervous going, oh my god, I hope there's a Sasquatch here. I'm not. You saw the video, you heard me talking, you see what I'm seeing, you see how I'm moving. I'm smooth, I'm looking, I'm not like this going, you know what I mean? I don't understand how that can go down, such an extreme difference, when meanwhile, I was only about, I would say I was about a 1.5 miles to 2 miles away, tops, where I continued hunting, than where I heard that noise from out of the timber. I just don't understand it. Okay, I babbled enough about that. I hope I got it across. Anyways, I found a recording I want to share with you guys. Give me a minute to find it. Alright, so now there's a man, they call him, he goes by the handle Cuz Strickland. He's with the management of Mossy Oak in the south. I believe he's in Mississippi. And we have a handful of mutual friends and acquaintances. And we follow each other's Instagram, and he's also friends with Dave Plattis, and he was on, I believe he's in one of, I just ate, alright? He's in one of Dave's movies. Now, and he has also witnessed some odd things in his time, and I believe he speaks to Dave about that in one of Dave's movies. Anyway, he just made a post today with a recording on one of his trail cameras. I believe it's Mississippi or Alabama. I'll have to read it. Let me read it. And, hold on a second. And just to let you guys know, trail cameras, this one has me stumped. So he made a post of his trail camera video. There's nothing on the video, but there's audio. And all he said was, and it's at 3:12 a.m. And all he said was, any idea what this is? And then his comment was, this one has me stumped. That's all he said. So we're going to play it for you guys a few times. We're going to listen to it together. And just so you guys know, I have been in the south a lot. In the dark, hunting turkeys, hunting hogs. I've heard hogs in the dark right inside those thick bushes right there in the pitch black. Snort away, fighting, squealing, wheezing, doing the whole 9 yards. I've heard hogs hundreds of times. All the noises they make. This one's got me stumped too. So, listen to this and don't quite come to a conclusion as fast as you can. Listen to it. Alright? Listen. That doesn't sound like a hog to me. Now the yipping sound, I don't know what that is either. Is it a combined? Are all those sounds coming from the same source? I don't know. Do I think that's a hog? Nope. It sounds possibly like some type of predator who's got a hold of something. Right by his feeder, by his trail camera. I don't know. I don't know what the hell that was, but it sounds really, really odd, don't you think? Don't you? Let's hear it again one more time. A couple more times. It's just replays. Hold on. Even the yipping sound. The yipping sound, I can't pinpoint the yipping sound. I've heard fawns in distress, I've heard rabbits in distress. That yipping sound doesn't sound familiar. It doesn't sound like a pup. We've all heard pups. Coyote pup, fox pup, it doesn't sound like that either. The yipping, just listen. So whatever the rough sound is if it was a breath, it's a short breath. That's a short breath, right? Anyways, it's confusing. So that's on Cuz Strickland's Instagram page, recent post today. If you want to go check him out firsthand, have a listen to that sound. And it's got him stumped. And believe me, if anybody's heard a lot of sounds in the timber in the forest in the south, it's Cuz, right? Obviously. Weird one, right? Real weird. Anyway, all right, one more. This is titled No Bullshit. I like that title. All right. First of all, I'm going to voice this text. I had my encounter with a buddy when we were younger. I went up looking for places with a nice view by night, late 1986, early 87. My truck was in 86. I found a place, I'm drinking some beers. Look at the lights. Fine, nice place. Engine running, music on, and heard crunch, crunch, crunch over the radio. I turned down the radio and said, what the F? So I just basically backed up and got out of there. A few nights later, I told my buddy I thought a great place to see like a pie over the area. This was up around the Mount St. Helens area, where you can see Vancouver, Washington. So we got off work, we grabbed some beers and headed that way. We drove up to the edge of the clear cut. Went to pull in, and all of a sudden, we saw an ass end of something walking up a hill, and then two big, bright red eyes squat down and watch us. We opened up our first 24-ounce beers, turned the radio down, and watched it. Watched it watch as the lights of the truck were on it. It wasn't more than maybe 20 to 25 yards away. It lasted about 8 minutes, and then it stood up, turned around, and walked away. We both looked at each other and did not believe what we just seen. So I said, okay, I don't know if that was the score on him being young and dumb and full of, up another hill, and turned around about 100 yards away within the ass end of two more, walking up a hill. stopped, looked at that, and said, "No way." We continued on to the spot that I was telling him about. At this point in time, we had finished our 24-ounce beers. We both had a pee. I showed him the little hill I was beside, that was beside me, about 810 feet tall, probably 8 foot 10 feet tall. I heard the crunch crunch. We both proceeded to go pee when a loud, ear-piercing, chattering scream came out. We were both glowing in the dark. We got in the truck, peeled out of there. Got out somehow with that rack in my truck. We were 6 miles down the road before either one of us zipped up our pants. Went to my place, which was 20 miles away, got my guns, and we were determined to go fix the situation. Like I said, we were young and dumb before leaving. I stopped at the top of the dip, and I had my buddy get back in the driver's seat and turn back. And, sorry, there's no punctuation. I stopped at the top of the dip and had my buddy get back in the driver's seat and back the truck up and shine the eyes on me. For that, at the time, I was 6'4", and I'm 65 now. He backed off, shone the headlights on me, high beams, and stood there for a while. I had a hard time getting him to come back. I started walking towards him, and he finally drove the truck up to me. He was white as a ghost. I go, "What's up?" And he said, "We proved 2 things. Humans do not go in the dark, glow in the dark." I said, "Okay." We knew that, good to know what else? He said, "Troy, whatever the F that was, it was twice your size." So, locked and loaded. We went back up on the hill. When we got there, the whole clear cut was covered in fog. And we looked at each other and said, "F that." Next day, we told my dad about this. We went out there, and by the stump, but that one squatted down. Okay, the talk to text doesn't work for most people, so I got to try to make sense of it for everybody here. The next day, we told my dad about this. We went out there, and by the stump, by that one squatted down, where that one squatted down and watched us. His head was pretty much level with that stump. I stood there, and that stump was on my shoulder height. We went where we seen the other 2 and seen the large prints of 2 beings in the soft dirt going up the hill. Probably meant the soft dirt going up the hill. Barefoot print. Where I parked and heard the crunch crunch, we went over and looked at that. We found a pile of dead branches that the loggers had left behind. We found print at the time. I have size 13-foot boot. I put it in there, and it was still 2.5 to 3 inches larger than what my boot was with the bare-toed print. And this is between you and me now, Steve. Please don't read this part out loud. You need to call me. All right, man, I got your message. I got you. Thanks for sending that in. Appreciate it. Mount St. Helens, you know by now, there's no shortage of episodes that went on around that area. Probably still today, even after St. Helens blew its top, right? It's just what it is. And you joined the Club of No Return that day. And thanks for the personal email at the end. And just so you know, and all the people know, I govern myself with my intuition. I govern myself with my intuition, my gut instincts, and that's how I make every single decision in this lifetime, is by my guts, my intuition, my sixth sense. So, oh, that's me. So anyway, there you go, you guys. I hope I get all the photographs in that were mentioned previously in the emails. And I'll get that ball rolling right now and get edited in. And I hope, and if I don't, as usual, I'll put those photos on the community page if I come across them later. Because I've got, Sarah's got me trying to get a hold of me over here. And I got other things to do here, but I'll get this out as fast as I can. And then I will get back on the normal delivery of voices in the mornings. I'm going to text Nino probably tomorrow, see if he wants to do a good old-fashioned bullshit session between fellas and share some experience stories. I think that'd be really good. Then we'll get a little break. I love hearing real life stories. And then as well, I will continue on my plans of where I'm going to go first and stop and spend time and learn from very, very determined, generous, honest people who want to share with all of you through me. And I'll start making those plans right away. All right? There you go. Share my story at howtohunt.com. That's where you get your words heard, word for word. All right? And there you go. Back tomorrow.